All right, good morning, everyone. How are you all? We will start just as it says at 11:35. So we have 10 minutes or so to go. Right? If you could hear me, you could just raise your hand so I know you can hear. Please, thank you. Okay, great. So the microphone is working. And once class starts and we get into the actual stuff we have to do, I will unmute the chat as we need. To discuss and to ask for you to ask questions and so on, right? But the big topic we're doing is ser and star. How do we conjugate them? When do we use them? And a vocab topic we'll do along the way is pets today. And of course, we'll meet other vocabulary related to ser and star, right? All right, guys, we're not officially starting class as yet, but let me just go through some of the resources I'll be sharing with you by the end of this class session, right? So the topic we're doing is ser and star. We want to learn how to conjugate it, and we want to learn when we use it, right? Generally, when we use it. You have a link already for the recordings, yes? But let me share it again. Some of you, if you've come to class already for the week, there it is. I've got to hit enter. Then you have this link already, right? Here it is in a chat for Zoom, and on YouTube. I think Sir has posted on the channel. So if you follow the channel, you should be following the channel, get a link there as well, right? Actually, let me start the recording while I do this. Right, so before we officially start, let me just go through some of the resources I'll be sharing with you by the end of class. And so one is the link to the homework, right? And once Sir puts up the recording, it will go here. And you'll be able to listen to it again if you missed a piece or if you want to review something we did. Now, on the right-hand side here, there are various links. One is the PowerPoint we will use in class, which is this one here, right? The second side is what you were looking at earlier. Yes. And it will have all the different notes that we go through during class, some different activities we do. Yes. Right. Now, this year, this academic year, and so starting with you all, I'm trying something a little different, where I am also going to write your notes at the same time as you are writing them. Right? And the reason for that is that often students get confused about what they're supposed to be taking down from the slide. Okay? So as you write notes, I'll be writing notes. We'll have both PowerPoints side by side. So when it comes to double checking what is supposed to be in your actual notebook, you can go to my notes and you will see what I expect you to have, right? All right. Since we are doing the topic of ser and star, now I'm going to show you a resource. Don't let it overwhelm you, right? You're not expected to do everything on it in one sitting, in 1 hour immediately after class, nothing like that, right? It's a resource. Right, so since we are doing ser and star, there are certain words in Spanish that can be used with ser and certain words in Spanish that can be used with a star. So here, when you look at ser vocabulary, you will get a list of those words, right? It's not 100% complete. It's not all the words in the language. It's words in the language that you are likely to need as a Caribbean student who may do CSEC Spanish or who is learning Spanish to use in the Caribbean, right? So there's one for ser, and then the other link takes you to the vocabulary you would use with a star, right? And you'll see in the homework I have copy and memorize ser vocabulary and a star vocabulary, right? But it's homework for weeks 1 and 2, and also 3 and 4, and also Form 2, and also Form 3, and also Form 4, and also Form 5, right? It's not, I don't expect you by the end of summer to have memorized everything in it. But if you are a serious Spanish student, and if you're studying Spanish in the long term, it's a document that will help you keep your notes organized, move ahead with ser and star, master it, right? All right, so at this point, if you have any questions about what I just showed you, you could tell me, right? So you'll notice that the homework that's assigned after today's class is not written. It's only complete what we do if you didn't complete it in class, and start working on making your own list of ser vocabulary, your own list of star vocabulary, and memorize it, right? I'm going to open the Zoom chat for questions. If you send me good morning, I'm going to send you an angry face because the good mornings clog up my chat and it's hard to check them all, right? So I'm opening the Zoom chat. This is only on Zoom. On YouTube, I can scroll quickly, but Zoom, you have to go window by window. If you have questions about what I just showed you, you could tell me. All right, I can't find my chat button. Right, here we go. Okay, so if anybody has questions on Zoom, you could send them now. All right, so no questions, just people ignoring my requests about good morning messages and still sending good morning messages. Um, so if you do have a question, hold it for the next time I open the chat, right? Right. So let's look at, let's get started with class, right? Okay, so everything I just went through with you, I will go through again towards the middle of class for people who join a little bit late. In terms of who the class is for, it's really designed for lower forms. And some lower forms may already have done this because different schools move at different paces and different schools do different topics at different times. So some schools may have done this in Form 1. Some people might not have seen it till Form 2 or 3. Some people in Form 4 might still be working on it, right? So it's really designed for lower forms. It's one of the things you learn earlier in Spanish rather than later. But older forms, it's something you have to know inside out. So older forms are welcome to stay to review it, right? So forms 4 and 5, you have to know it inside out for your exams. Stay and review it, right? All right. So our topic is Sarah and a star. And what do Sarah and a star mean? They mean to be in Spanish. So in English, we just have one word that means to be. I'm going to tell you what you need to write. Let's go across here to my notes book up. Everybody can see these, okay? Right, so today's date, let me make this a little bit bigger. Right, today's date is the 23rd. So you'll head up, however you head up, right? July 2026, right? So this is notes to write, notes to copy. Yes? Right, and our topic is stare and a star, right? We could put Spanish here as our subject, right? And both of these verbs, what do they mean? They mean to be, right? All right, now I'm gonna ask a question. All right, 1 second, sorry. Right, so a reminder that when we do message on the chat, we should not be messaging distracting things. We should not be copying and pasting paragraphs that we auto-translated and put into the chat, which becomes a distraction because it's not on what we're doing right now, right? That's the reminder for the YouTube chat, and for the Zoom chat, a reminder, please do not send me good morning, hello, hi messages. They take time to check and distract me from being able to respond to questions. Yes? Good. There were some messages just now that disappeared from my chat. So if you did have a question, you might have to send it back once I open back the chat, right? Right, okay, so back to our notes. Remind about the rules, back to our notes. Sarah and a star mean to be. And there's a question I want to ask you to think about and then send a thoughtful answer to. What does it mean to conjugate a verb? When a teacher tells you, conjugate a verb, what does that mean? What does it mean to conjugate a verb? So in my notebook, I'm going to put it here on the side. Now you'll realize I have some space constraints that you might not, right? My thing is longer lengthwise. Your page is probably 8.5 by 11. So obviously make it fit. This is just about making sure we have the same content. All right, so conjugate means what? Okay, so Zoom, I'm gonna open your chat and you could tell me. And YouTube, if you'll have an answer. Okay, yes. So somebody on YouTube has put it with the correct endings. And yes, that is correct. Now, why do we need to do that? Why do we need to put it with the correct endings? Anybody on Zoom want to take a try? What does it mean to conjugate a verb? You can look up a definition for conjugate. That's not going to help us here. Match the tense. All right, so we have to put the correct ending. We have to change the ending, right? To suit the subject and to suit the tense. Yes. Now in English, we don't have this issue because in English, like if you take the verb to walk, this is over here. You don't have to copy this down, right? It is I walk, you walk, he, she, it walks. And we just have those two forms of the verb. We have the form that's just walk, there's no change, and then we have the form with the S at the end. But in Spanish, it's way more complicated than that. Verbs are the main part of unlocking understanding Spanish, right? And you have to do it faster than a normal Spanish speaking student from preschool would, because in preschool you learn it differently. You learn how you say all the I ways and all the U ways, but in Spanish you have to learn the pattern and then apply the pattern accordingly. So a conjugate means change the ending of the verb to match the tense. Well, first let me put the subject. The subject, right? And subject is a fancy grammar way to say doer of the action, right? And to match the tense. Because we could have present tense, past tense, future tense, conditional tense, etc., right? Now, in July, August, showing my age, because when I was in your age, we used to call it summer vacation. But no, it is July, August vacation because we have no summer, right? Anyway, in July, August, we are only business in this class with the present tense. The tomorrow class, the Friday class, they will have it a little rougher because their business with the present and the past tense, right? So if this class, after this class, you find it's too basic, you want a little more, you could come to the Friday class and we will do past tense, right? Right. Right. Yes. Good. Good. So thank you to all of you all that have answered, right? So now what is on the left, that is what you are taking down, right? Now, some of you all have seen this multiple times already, and some of you are seeing it for the first time. So we have to meet in the middle, right? Right now, I really prefer if you say, once you understand, okay, after subject is slash doer of the action, right? The subject, because subject might be confusing to some people, but doer of the action. Let me write that over and hopefully a little better. So it matches two things. It matches the subject or the doer of the action, and it matches the tense, right? But for us, the tense isn't really an issue because, again, only using past tense. Right? All right. Now we are doing stare and a star because these verbs mean to be And that's the first concept we want to understand, how we say I am, you are, he, she, it, what, is, or are, they are, we are, you plural are, right? Gender, number, not gender at this point in the conversation. Sometimes with Istar we will. The number is reflected because the number, the subject changes and then the ending changes, right? All right. Now, the next thing that I want to put on the note here is a reminder. Are Sarah and Star normal verbs? Are they regular verbs? They are not regular verbs. They do not follow, sorry, the normal pattern that the other verbs follow, right? They are individual, unique, right? So Sarah and Star are irregular verbs. Yes? So if you are an experienced Spanish student, you know the regular verbs come in 3 types of endings: AR, ER, IR. Sarah and Star, well, Sarah looks like it ends in ER and Star looks like it ends in AR, but it doesn't follow the typical pattern as the other ER and AR verbs, right? All right. So what is on the left is what you are writing down. Right? I'm going to give a minute to finish it. And while you take that minute to finish it, I'm going to recap what we covered so far, right? We covered that we are doing Sarah and Star for July, August, right? We're going to talk about the conjugations. We're going to talk about the uses when we use it, right? We covered that Sarah and Star mean to be. Both of them translate to be, right? So if you saw the verb phrase to be in a sentence, irregular means it doesn't follow the normal pattern, which I haven't taught you yet, but the majority of you have learned in school already, I'm sure, right? But if when we are learning it, that will probably be September. Or when we are reviewing it, the regular patterns, that will probably be September, right? So irregular just means doesn't follow the normal pattern. Right, so Sarah and Star mean to be. If you see to be in a sentence and you have to put it in Spanish, you have to ask yourself, am I using Sarah or am I using a star? Right? And we're going to go into which is which just now. We want to learn how to conjugate them, and conjugate means change the ending of the verb to match who is doing the action, the subject of the sentence, the doer of the action, and change the tense of the verb to whatever we need it to be, right? Whether that's present tense, past tense, future tense, conditional. For our purposes, present tense. If you are still confused about anything at this point, you could tell me. Other than that, I'm going to give it 10 more seconds and then we're going to move on. All right, I think that's all 10 seconds, right? So here's what I'm going to do for us so that we can keep our notes consistent together. I'm going to take a screenshot of what I wrote. And in this PowerPoint, now it is possible I will forget from time to time. If I forget, y'all could remind me. So in this PowerPoint, I'm going to put it here, right? So that if you didn't get something you need to review, you can come there and you can get it, right? All right. Okay. So we're going on to our next thing now. All right, so here's my next question to you. Without looking it up. Actually, no, I'm not on my next question yet. Let's do, or maybe I should be. Yeah, without looking it up. How do you conjugate ser and how do you conjugate a star? Only message if you know. If you don't know, that's okay. But please don't go and Google it and then send it. Right? So you can send it now in the chat. If you know it, how do we conjugate ser and how do we conjugate a star? And yes, so some students are asking, how do you know when to use one or the other, right? And that's the point of this week's class, and that's the point of next week's class, right? Ser and star are not gender-based. They have to do with what you're saying is or are, right? Okay, good. So some of you do know it. Wonderful. All right, so let's go through and write out the conjugations, right? So we're gonna conjugate ser and star now. And we're gonna do them one at a time. Okay, let's take ser first, right? Which means to be. And so for the I form, we say soy, right? Now I'm deliberately leaving out the pronoun for now. That's something as English speakers you have to get used to, right? Depending on the ending of the verb, the pronoun is left out because the ending of the verb shows who's doing the action. So soy means I am, right? Eres, I'll go back and put the pronoun in brackets just now. Means you, but an informal you, my friend, right? My equal, my colleague. So we say informal, right? And it's also singular. You are. Es, now here's where we would, in real life, in Spanish, put in, yes, these are the notes you're taking down, right? So please note. We would put in the él or ella or usted, right? So he or she or it is, or it could mean you, formal and singular. So if you were speaking to your teacher and you were saying you, one teacher, and you are, right? You would use is. You would say ustedes, right? Then we have somos, which is we are, and we have son, which is either they are or you, plural, are. Right? Now on the next side, I'm going to put a star to the right-hand side. A star also means to be. Okay, so I am estoy. You my friend, you my equal, you the person beneath me, you in authority, is estás, right? With an accent. He, she, or it is, or you formal, right? Would be está. We are, estamos, right? Don't forget those accents, right, guys? They are, or you plural are, whether formal or informal, están, right? We do Latin American Spanish, no. So we use we don't use, there's a vosotros that used to be here in back in the day. We leave that out for the you plural. So we, for the plural of you, is one word for whether you're friends with the person or not, right? Now, in terms of the subject pronouns, I'm going to go back and put those in brackets. But remember, those are often optional. Oops, wrong place. All right. So we could have said, and we still could, yo soy. But yo is kind of redundant because soy automatically means I am. We could say yo estoy. Yo is redundant, right? Tú eres. Tú estás, right? Now, for the third person singular, that's where we want to maybe put in the pronoun for sure. So that could be él for he. There's an accent on that E. It could be ella. Or it could be usted for you, right? And sometimes that usted is written as, I'm going to put it down here. No, me not. I'll explain that after. Sometimes you see usted as UD dot or VD dot. It's the same usted, right? And over here, same thing. It would be él with the accent, for he, ella, for she, or usted for you, right? For somos and estamos, nosotros, right? Nosotros somos, nosotros estamos, right? Ellos, for they, if the group is all male or the group is male and female, right? ELLOS. Ellas, if the group is all female, they are, right? We use Latin American Spanish for CXC. So the version we are learning is Latin American Spanish. Okay? And then for you down here, you will see ustedes. So once the you is plural, whether it's a group of friends that you know, or it's a group of strangers that you just met, it will be ustedes once you are saying you to them, right? And over here as well, ellos están, ellas están, ustedes están, right? Now, again, depending on your level of Spanish, this thing with the pronouns might be, you've seen it 100 times already. Whereas, if you're brand new to Spanish or you're going into Form 1, you may not have learned it this way. Right? So everyone is taking down what is on this left-hand side, right? And please do not take shortcuts. Some people are going to be like, Miss, I knew it. But you may not. Because when I asked just now for how we conjugate Sarah and star, out of the entire group, maybe 10 people sent the full conjugation for Sarah and 10 people sent the full conjugation for star, right? And you don't want to end up in a place where you end up later along in Spanish and we haven't strengthened the foundation, right? All right. So to the Zoom chat, I'm going to open the chat now if you have questions about the content, right? Yes, Uste, this is you all. We have to memorize this, right? How do you memorize things? What is your individual strategy for memorizing something? I'm seeing the messages about confused. We'll go over it in a second. Just finish the note first and then we'll go over it, right? I will explain it again. Let me just get through these messages and you all finish taking on your note and we'll go over it again. Now, my letters, the capitalization is off because, well, that wasn't a priority when I was writing on the forms, and I went and put in the pronoun after, right? But if this were a sentence, I will go back over it, right? If this were a sentence, the Y would be capital, the S would be common, the T would be capital, the E would be common, right, guys? The focus is not capitalization right now. Spanish does have different capitalization rules, but when it comes to a sentence, the same general rules apply. Start with a capital letter, right? All right, let's go back over it. Let me turn back on the recording. All right, so what we are understanding is how we say I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, you are, we are, they are in Spanish, right? That's what we're trying to figure out here. That's what we're revising here. That's what we're doing here, right? Yes. So we have two different ways we could say each thing, and it depends on what we are trying to say. That's when we choose whether it's the Sarah version of I am, you are, he, she, it is, you, we are, they are, you are, or the Istar version, right? We will get into the when we use each one just now, but first we're working out the different forms, how you conjugate the verb, right? So to conjugate ser, to change it so that it reflects who is doing the action and it reflects for us the present tense. For I am, we say soy. For you, or we could say yo soy. For you are, we could say eres, or we could say tú eres. For he is, or she is, or it is, or usted, you are, we say él es, ella es, usted es. All right? For we are, we say somos or nosotros somos. For they are, we say son, ellos son, ellas son, ustedes son. For you all are plural, as somebody in the chat helpfully pointed out. That's in English, we tend to say you all, right? Trinidadians especially. All right. Now, that's there. For a star, if we're using a star to say to be, and we want to say I am, we say estoy. Estoy, right? Or we could say yo estoy. For you are, when the you is our friend, or it's an informal, somebody we know, somebody on our own age, our own level of authority. Tú estás. He is, él está. She is, ella está. You are, you being someone in authority or a stranger, usted está. Right? We are, nosotros estamos. They are, ellos están o ellas están. You all are, ustedes están. All right. So, all I have given you basically then is a list of vocabulary, the ser conjugations and the estar conjugations. We should understand what the Spanish means, right? Any questions still? You could send them. If I can't repeat it right now because of time, we will figure out how we will go over it, right? So if you still have a question, I will make a note and we'll figure out what to do from there. Yes, so if you're introducing yourself, you say soy and your name, but you're getting ahead of me. We come into that, right? Right, okay. Now, what is our next thing? Guys, you all are asking me a question that I said we're going to answer, right? We're going to answer when we use ser, and we're going to answer when we use a star, right? If you just came in, you will have to make a plan to watch back the recording, right? All right. Okay, let's do something a little different before we get into the uses. Let me take my screenshots and save it for anybody who has to come back to notes. All right, let's talk about pets. Who has a pet? Don't type yes. Please don't type yes. Tell me what kind of pet you have. That's what I want to hear. What kind of pet do you have? All right. We're going next to types of pets. How do you say pets in Spanish? Puppy, a dog. Dogs are very popular, it seems. A parrot, a dog, a monkey. I don't think I have monkey on the side. No, all right. Wait, are we allowed to have monkeys? Una tortuga. Yeah, there was drama in our household recently because somebody brought our son, our 8-year-old son, a hamster and a cat. Cat, there's definitely drama in that house. There's a cat chasing hamster. Somebody brought us on a turtle. In Trinidad, always have a flood, the turtle wash up in the person yard, they bring the child the turtle, right? Then we find out that the majority of turtles, not majority, there are quite a few turtles, it's illegal to own as pets. But we don't know what those types of turtles are. So we released the turtle and he was very upset. It was very dramatic. And the turtle, of course, busts out because he's like, this pet life is not for me. Right. So we are looking at pets, right? Now I'm going to go through some of the more popular ones with you. And then you're going to tell me what I left out. Somebody has a snake as a pet. Do your parents know that? Are they okay with that? Oh, there's music on this side. I forgot about that. All right. Tell me what is what. We know what el perro is, a doggy, right? And el gato is a cat, right? Do we know what I'm going to open the chat again. What is el conejo? A little bunny rabbit. Isn't it cute? Although personally, I'm not a rabbit fan. All right, right. Hamster is hamster, right? Tortuga is a turtle. All right, what's el pez? El pez is a fish. Yes? And so if you had a goldfish, it would be el pez dorado, but we'll write that down just now, right? All right, what's el pájaro? A parrot, yeah, I do have a picture of a parrot here. So, oh, and I forgot, I didn't pause enough for this one. El conejillo de Indias is a guinea pig, right? Somebody said serpent, la serpiente, right? And the last one, el loro, that's what I have as parrot. Although people like to tell me that is a macaw that I have a picture of, and it's not really a parrot. Right? Okay, we're gonna go to the next right, so loro for parrot and pájaro for bird. Yes. Okay, we're gonna make a list on the next slide. Wrong picture here. Yeah, all right, so we can see our pictures again. Let's push them over here. And if I forgot any type of pet that anybody has, they could tell me. Ferret. Do people actually have pets as ferret? I thought that was more like a foreign thing. Do we have those pets in the Caribbean? All right, so let's go las mascotas, right? And so we're taking notes again, right? This is our little vocab topic, las mascotas, right? Pets. We use the article when we're referring to the thing in general. So you would have seen on this slide before, when we were going through the pictures, I had the pets, right? But in English, you wouldn't really say, you wouldn't announce, hey, we're going to talk about the pets today, right? We would just say pets. Yes? But literally translation is the pets, right? All right, so we have, let me give you a question. ¿Qué mascota o mascotas tienes? What pet or pets do you have, right? And then you respond with, how do you respond? You say tango, and then you list out your pet. I have, right? All right, what pets did we give ourselves just now? Let's use a different color here. We said, okay, so the most common ones are dog and cat, right? A dog, un gato, a cat. Whoops. All right, and what are the other kinds? We have conejo, rabbit. Right, so I'm gonna make the list over here for us. You, of course, can make it going down your page, just get it written out, right? Tortuga, I'm gonna put il so we know the gender, the rabbit. La tortuga, turtle. El pájaro, we are translating as bird. And el loro, we are translating as parrot. Right? The parrot. Now I have forgotten to write in my the in front of turtle and the in front of bird. You could put yours in, right? Snake, la serpiente, the snake. Right? All right, what have I left out? Fish. Fish is a popular pet. Right? So el pez. And if you want to say goldfish, you could say dorado. And if it's just a normal fish, not so special as to be gold, just el pez, right? The goldfish. Okay, we do not say patón in Spanish. I don't know. I don't know how you would say. You would need to say what? Common dog? Common. I'm not sure. All right. I'm gonna turn on the Zoom chat in a second. I just have to get these messages cleared up while y'all are taking down the list, and you'll tell me if I've forgotten any of your pets. I know somebody said monkey. Nobody has tiger cubs. Nope, that is not a pet that you have. But tomorrow's passage for Spanish is on the zoo, so if that's more appealing, you can come. Uh, okay, good question, Divya. Provided we have time, I'll come to that just now about the male. How do we talk about the pets if they are female? How do we change the word for gender? Right, we'll come to that just now. Serpiente is snake. La serpiente is snake, right? All right, I will say it again just now, right? But in general, the rule is for the gender, If it ends in an O and the pet is female, you could change the O to A to reflect that. If it ends in an E, it doesn't change. All right, monkey is il mono. I know some people have pet monkeys. And is that legal? Are you allowed to? Is that, or is that like the turtle situation? Um, lagarto for lizard, right? Ah, good question. If it ends in an A, then it doesn't change for the male form, right? All right, any other pet type that we didn't put down? Any other reasonable pet type? No tiger cubs, please. Reasonable pet types, types that will not get us locked up. If you have a specialty pet, you will need to look it up. I don't know what is okay, no guys, do not tell me farm animals. Those are not pets, those are food. Yeah, okay, ferret, huron, Huro accent N. Kevin, Gucci, Tiger, you're good look it up. Tiger is for zoo conversation tomorrow. Who is telling me capybara and gorilla? Who is doing that? Guinea pig is not on the screen, but it was on the original set. So that is, and I didn't put hamster, but hamster is the same, right? You remember what it was? Conejillo de las Indias. Right? And this is guinea pig. Okay, I think that's the last part we will do, right? All the exotic things you all will have to look up on your own. Who has a pet rat? Rat is rata, or well, ratto, I guess it could be for masculine, right? Okay, so my bad. If you do have a special kind of pet that you have a permit for, then my bad. So saying that that's not reasonable, right? Um, turtle is tortuga, right? We have that on the screen. Frog is rana, Rana. Ferret is on the screen, it's uron. I'm pretty sure there's no permit that allows you to have a pet scarlet ibis, right? I sit, I'm fairly sure the same for the giraffe, right? Okay. Um, right. So anybody needs to come back to the notes, they are right here. All right, let's do a little time check. Oh, okay, before we get back into Serenity Star, I put together some as our version of a brain cooler. Um, Here's an idiomatic expression in Spanish. Right? Don't look it up. What do you think it means? Ponerse las pilas. All right, so Zoom chat, you could tell me. What do you think it means, ponerse las pilas? It's an idiomatic expression. What is going on with this person when they ponerse las pilas? They have a battery, but what does that mean? What's the battery letting them do? She has energy, yes. Ah, okay, somebody knows it or somebody cheat and look it up. Ah, it is something to do with her passing her test. Like if she does it, she'll probably pass her test. Okay, to push yeah, okay, so a few people have it. Either you've met it before or you looked it up, right? It has to do with energy, it has to do with getting yourself ready and organized, right? All right. So ponerse las pilas means to get one's act together. And what does that really mean in English, to get your act together? It could mean just to get ready to go and do something. It could mean stop skylarking. It could mean change my life around. Um, what is that? How would you say that in English? Poner normally by itself means to put, yeah. It could mean to study, it could mean, yeah, it could mean to act, it could mean, right. All right, from next week, what I'll do is I'll make this a poll question. So more people can answer and it will be a little smoother for us, right? All right. But you could add this to your note, ponerse las pilas, right? As an expression that means to get one's act together. Okay, and as a little vocab revision, poner is to put, right? Poner by itself. If I have ponerse, what does that mean? And then las pilas would be batteries, the batteries. Ponerse means to put on, right? Like to put on clothes, to put on, well, in this case, batteries, to put on batteries. But that doesn't mean anything to us in English. So we have to translate it with our own idiomatic expression to get one's act together. If you think about it, we don't really have an act. Maybe still has an act. But in general, most of us don't have acts, right? Yeah, to get your act together could mean to work hard. It could mean be more energetic, work harder. All right, I'm gonna wait a few minutes and give us some time to process. Make sure we have this written down. Give our hands a little rest. If you need to get a drink of water, you could do that, right? I'm gonna give us 3 minutes to take care of that. What I could do in the 3 minutes is go over what I did at the start of class, which is show people the resources, right? So let me clear up these chat messages. And we'll go through the resources that I talked through at the start of class, right? Yeah, to hustle is sort of a translation to put on your batteries, to think faster. Yeah, guys, once it's in this little Spanish notes PowerPoint in handwriting, it's because I want you to write it down, right? Now, if you've written on your own version of it, no problem. Right? But the idea must be somewhere in your notes so that you could come back to it if you need to. Yep, get it together, get to work. That's a good transition to get yourself energized. Good transition, yes. All right, let's go over the housekeeping things. That I said at the start of class, right? And I'll put it in the recording again. Right. So to get access to the recording, the homework, other resources available to you from us for this class, this is the link that you go to, right? It's already been shared on the channel. So many of you already have it. It's the same page that you went to for maths homework and English homework already, right? It's the same page. Now, Spanish, this class doesn't have any homework to turn in. Instead, your job is to complete any notes you didn't get a chance to. You could look back at the PowerPoint if you need to. And then you are getting 2 documents to start working on to create your own resource. We're doing Sarah and a Star. The first document is this one. It's a lot of words that we use with Sarah, right? And then the other one is this one, words that we use with Istar. Okay? Now, I do not expect you, I am not asking you to write all of this down by next week. I'm asking you to pace yourself and probably by the end of the month, have the vocabulary. Especially if you're in like a Form 3 class, by the end of the month, have it noted and be working on actively memorizing it. If you're in a Form 2 class, if you're an advanced student, a strong student, you're serious about Spanish, you know you want to do it for Form 4 and 5, same thing. If you're just starting out in Form 1, just focus on understanding the concept, and maybe you could pick 10 words from each page to learn, right? Now, somebody had asked earlier, how do we remember all of this? What we're going to do? We have to look at it and memorize it. So that could mean reading it over. How did you learn vocabulary and spelling when you were smaller and those were things you had to do? You saw the word, you looked at the word, you said the word out loud, you spelled the word, you wrote it down. Sometimes if a word is given trouble to spell, I ask my child to write it out 5 times and then try and spell it, right? We break it up into syllables, write it 5 times. If after the 5 times he could spell it without looking, okay, we know it, we move on. We check again in a week, in 2 weeks to make sure it's still stuck there, right? If after writing it 5 times he doesn't remember it, write it 5 more. Okay? That works for him because that's how he remembers, by writing things down. Perhaps it might work for you if you repeat the thing 5 times. So you practice saying, soy, I am. It is, you are. Is, he or she or it is. Somos, we are. Son, they are. Right? And be able to say it without looking at the page. But it's not just read it over once, probably, and it will stick. If you're in Form 3 and you've done this over and over a few times now, it might be read it over once and it's stuck. But if you're meeting it for the first time, be prepared. You might have to look at it 10 times, 20 times, 100 times for it to stick. But if you are serious about Spanish, and if you know you have to do it in higher forms, or you're going to choose to do it in higher forms, you need to learn it, right? Yes, pace, read it out loud. Sometimes have non-distracting music in the background, not videos, because that always distracts. Not your phone, that always distracts, right? You don't have to plan to do it for half an hour. You could plan to do it for 5 minutes. You could set a timer on your watch, right? We could survive most things for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? But you have to study it in order to remember it. Just sitting in class and hearing it is not going to be enough. Spanish is not the native language for most of us here. I don't know if it might be for one or two if you come from a home where it's spoken, but so it's not like if you're in English class and you hear something and you heard it, so you remember it because you speak English. Here we have to actively try to remember it, right? Yeah, my Spanish teacher also taught us a song with Sarah, but I can't remember the tune. You know what? I'll look for one on YouTube and I'll share a link with you if there is a song to help you remember how to say it. But all it is we just have to memorize it. Right. Now we're going to get into the long-awaited piece of when we use ser and when we use a star. Right? And that is this slide. So if you want to write it, you can, but I'm not asking you to write it yet. Right? All right. Thank you, Kelsey. I'm making a note and I will check. All right. Ser and a star, to be and to be, right? We've already gone through this. We use ser for permanent things, things that do not change, Now I'm saying this, and then you're going to look at a couple of them and say, but miss. So for now, just go with the more or less permanent things that do not change. And a star is for things that will change. They are not permanent. They are not fixed, right? Okay, a quick just interrupt, sorry. A reminder, all the links to everything I just showed you is here, right? It's not in blue because I've already clicked on them for the class. Let me see if I refresh it. Will it be in blue? No, still not. It's in gray right now. My notes, this is where I've been putting the screenshots, the PowerPoint with the notes. Ser vocabulary, what I just showed you, is star vocabulary, what I just showed you, right? So it's the link to the homework page and you'll get everything there. Right. So when do we use ser? If we have to say the date in Spanish, we use ser. If we have to say somebody's job in Spanish, we use ser. If we have to say a permanent trait of theirs that they have, we use ser. Right? We want to say about a physical feature that they have, we use ser. That's characteristic, right? We're talking about time, we use ser. Or origin, meaning where they are from, what country they are from, ser. Relation, so are they somebody's sister, mother, auntie, whatever, we use ser, right? A star, we use with things that will change. So if it's the position of something, we use a star. If it's where it is located, and some of you might argue, well, Miss, position and location is the same thing. Sometimes, yes, you're all right. This is just the acronym we work with, right? There's an overlap. If it's an action that is happening right now and it will stop, or it was happening in the past and it stopped, it's not permanent, we use a star. If it's a condition, the state of something, we use a star. A feeling, an emotion that will pass, we use a star. Right? So temporary things is star, permanent things ser. So for right now, we're going to take this down actually when we're done going through all the examples. If you've already written it, good for you. I will save you time in the future. But if not, we will come back to it eventually, right? Let me see. Right. So what I do want you to note, please, just for right now, is ser is for permanent, so please note. Right. And if you want to go back to where you conjugated the verb and write it down, you could do that, right? But ser is used for permanent things, permanent. I'm going to put all long-lasting things. Like Duracell batteries. Ha, 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 ha. All right. Right? Because you would have seen occupation on the slide before, right? And some of you might be thinking, but Miss, we will change our jobs. We wouldn't only have one job, right? And that's true, but think of it like a career. You invest years in developing your skills, getting the education necessary for it, right? So it's a long-lasting kind of commitment. A star is used for temporary things or conditions, right? So we will learn that, for instance, when you talk about somebody, if they're married or not, you would use a star and not ser. And people might say, well, Miss, marriage is forever, right? But it's also a condition because you weren't born married. Right? So this we are noted. Ser for permanent things, is star for temporary things. If that is confusing to anybody, let me know. All right, everybody have this noted. We can continue. Yes, sorry, I forgot. Thank you, Sarah. I forgot to point that out. The list that I showed you just now they make an acronym when you take the first letter of each word, right? So let me see if I can move this around. You could see it without, I move the text around. Move around my pirate here. Yeah, right. So there's an acronym. Sorry, guys. Yes, better. Yeah, there's an acronym, it an abbreviation that makes a word. So D for date, O for occupation, characteristic, C, T time, O origin, R relation. And they spell doctor, right? And for star, we have place, position, location, action, condition, emotion. And those little abbreviations are supposed to help you remember what to use for SARE and what to use for star. And when you get to the document with the vocab, you'll see that each page is for one of those letters. Right? So doctor is for description. Well, here's a bunch of useful descriptive words. The D is for description, right? The O is for occupation. Well, here's a bunch of occupations. The C is for characteristics. Here's a bunch of characteristics, and so on. Time, a bunch of time expressions. Origin, nationality, a bunch of nationalities. Relationships, a number of relationship words, right? Same for a star, organized one page per letter. P is for position, a bunch of position words. L is for location, a bunch of location words. A is for action, action words, right? E is for emotion, etc. All right, can we get into our uses? The only things I expect you to work on remembering are the things that I gave you that we wrote down as notes. This is especially for the Form 1 students, right? Form 2 and 3, depending on what you've already done, and 4 and 5 if you're here, y'all could work ahead. You could move on to the vocab. You could make notes from the rest of the PowerPoint if you want. You can review the whole topic. But for the Form 1s who might be feeling overwhelmed because it's the first time you're doing that, take a deep breath and remember all I'm asking you to revise after today is what you have written down in your notes. Right? You could start creating your resource by noting vocabulary. But you are not expected to go and memorize 1,000 words that Miss bombarded you with. That is not what is happening, right? We're just understanding the concepts and memorizing the grammar, okay? All right, everybody has this noted, so we're going to move to actual uses and examples, right? All right, some people going in Form 2 didn't do it. It depends on the school. Different schools move at different paces and they do different topics, right? So if this is the first time you're meeting it, piece by piece, right? Not everything at once. Tomorrow's class is at 9. Tomorrow's class, we will go into past tense, right? We will start with a comprehension, just so I can gauge where the class is, and then we will go into past tense, right? when we use perfect, when we use imperfect, how to form perfect, how to form imperfect. All right. We are going now to uses of Sarah and a star, right? Finally, the much awaited, long awaited. Yes. So let's go to the first one. Now we're going to understand the concept first, and then we're going to write, then we're going to make notes, right? Tomorrow's class is at 9 a.m. If you want to come to tomorrow's class, it is at 9 a.m. Right. Sarah's used to give the date. Sarah's used to state the time, right? So talking about date and time, we use Sarah, right? So you can see a little date over here, and you can see the clock over here, right? So we might ask, ¿Qué fecha es? Which means, what is the date? What is the date today? And we use Sarah. We say hoy es, and we put the date, right? ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? We say, we again use Sarah, we say es la, and we put the time, or we say if it's 1 o'clock or something related to 1 o'clock, or we say son las if it's more than 1 o'clock, right? Past 1 o'clock. Anything other than 1, right? Okay, let's look at what we actually writing down, right? So first use of ser. All right, so this is our note side over here. Right, so uses of ser. Oh, let me write this differently, sorry. So use ser for date and time, right? There's an and sign in the middle here. I'm going to draw ampersand instead. Right. Now let's do the example. We say que fecha es, right? Which means, I'm going to write it in English underneath. What date is, right? What date is. But in English, we really mean what is the date, right? All right. How do we answer that? What is today's date? Anybody told me? Guys, I'm seeing you questions about where to get the sheets, the vocab I showed you, and about tomorrow's class. I will address that in the last 5 minutes, right? Since I've already said it a few times, I will say it again. Then let us complete our work. Today's the 23rd. God, man, you could tell me in Spanish. Tell me the date in Spanish. No, you tell me in English. All right, but thank you. I have it, 23rd July. Thank you. Right. Okay, so hoy is, today is Thursday. So jueves, right? We could say it, we could say what's the day? The 23rd. So 23 de, and we're in July, Julio. Right. Now, somebody had brought up the issue of capital letters in Spanish, right? And they brought it up and they said, why are there no capital letters in Spanish? So it's not that there are no capital letters in Spanish, it's that they don't capitalize the same things we do. So no, this is a common J here and a common J here, right? Today is Thursday, the 23rd of July, right? And I left out an accent on top of my E in 23, right? So you could put that in. Right. The next one the next expression we want to say is the time. Class finishes that this is the only time I'm gonna respond to this question. I may never respond to it again. So make a mental note. Class finishes at 1:15. I will try to give us the last 5 minutes. Like I'll try to end by 10 past so we could do any questions, clear up anything, any questions anybody has, right? I would like to hear from you all before you go. About the pace of the class and if it's too fast, too slow, etc. Right? Okay. Next one is with Sarah again. The time now, use Sarah for date. So that's our example. Use Sarah for time. So the time just now will be 1 o'clock. So I'm going to put that as my example. I should have put a little star here. Put a little star here. Es la una. I'm just gonna put an easy example, right? I'm gonna pretend it's 1 o'clock already. It's 1 minute to one, so I'm not far off, right? So it is one. Well, I didn't put in PM, but so 1 o'clock, right? And then if I wanted to say a different time, because one is one, so it takes ace, right? But if it's more than one, son las that I go at 9 o'clock, nueve. Right? And we translate that as it is 9. All right. Now, if you've done Serenity Star before, then you could clearly see where we've used Ser, right? If this is the first time, can you spot where we've used Ser? Son las nueve. Let's pretend I said de la mañana. Right? And then that's how we translate AM. Good question. Uno is the word for one in Spanish. Why has Miss written una? Because it has to agree with aura. La hora for the hour, right? When you ask the time, which I did not put here because I guess I'm tired too, just like y'all. How do we ask the time in Spanish? We say ¿Qué hora es? Right? And please make sure you copy the note from the handwriting side because that has all the accents in it, right? So this should have gone here, but it didn't. So I have to put it over here now. All right, I'll go up here. ¿Qué? And I start with an upside down question mark, right? Hora es. Right? What literally hour is. I guess is it? is it, right? Because we did say is could mean it is. So what hour is it? So when we answer, um, we're really saying it is hour 1, or it is hour 9, or it is hour 10, or it is hour 11:15, or it is hour 4:45, right? And so uno changes to agree with hour, which is feminine. But we do say es na uno. Okay, the Zoom chat, if you have a question about what we just did, let me know. And I did ask, I said the advanced kids could probably see this there, no problem. People who are just now using it for the first time, learning it for the first time, do you see where we have used there? All nouns in Spanish have a gender, not just girls and women. In English, the majority of objects that exist, the majority of nouns are neuter, they have no gender. Table has no gender, computer has no gender. But in French and Spanish, everything has a gender. And you need to learn the gender, but that is why our is plural and then uno becomes una to agree with, not plural, sorry. Aura is feminine and uno becomes una to agree with that feminine noun. If anyone is confused about what we have on the screen, let me know. And I'm just gonna highlight. So we've used ser. Not I want yellow, I want pink, right? We've used ser hit. Oh, what is this? I want yellow highlighter, please, pen, right? Ser here, date, time, right? Que fecha es, we're expressing the date. We use ser, es is a form of ser, right? Hoy es, we're saying the date, es jueves, es is a form of ser. We're expressing the time. Que hora es? Es is a form of ser. Es again, and so on. Yeah. Right? So we have used ser to express date and time. So we would never say, hoy está jueves. No, wrong. We would never say, está las 11. We would never say that. Okay, so when your note is complete here, you could raise your hand or you can give me a thumbs up. So I'll know it's complete. Okay, la mañana is the morning. In this case. Now I understand why you get confused because sometimes it's the morning and sometimes it's tomorrow. But in this case, it is in the morning. Right here, the idiomatic translation is AM, but it is literally of the morning. Right? But it really means AM. It's how we indicate AM in Spanish. All right, so a lot of people are indicating that they are done, right? If your concern is pronunciation, the best advice I could give you is to listen to a lot of Spanish, right? Um, so listen to I could share a couple good links with you from YouTube where beginner level Spanish is posted on safe topics that will help you learn, right? But in general, Spanish is very close to English in terms of pronunciation, except for perhaps the vowels. The vowels are a little bit different. Um, I'll make a note and we could fit that into maybe next week's class, right? And there are one or two letters that are different, but in general, the pronunciation and then the stress of where it goes can be different, right? No, we don't use dia for morning, I don't think, right? Afternoon is tardy. A lot of what people are asking me about time and how you say things, all of that is in the vocab sheet. So when you go through the vocab sheet, you will see it, right? Okay, so most people have indicated they are finished. Let me put a screenshot in here. If you are finished and you understand where your homework is coming from and what you are responsible for next week, then thank you for coming to class and you all are free to leave, right? If anybody would like to go over any of those things, where to get the homework, where to get the PowerPoint, questions about tomorrow's class, you could stick around for that. And in a minute, I will address that, right? Spanish music is good too. The potential difficult thing about Spanish music is that, well, you know how it is when people sing, they don't sing in standard English. They sing in they join their words together. We speak fast, well, we sing faster, we abbreviate words, like all those things happen. Right? So but if you like it, then by all means listen to it. And then also look at the lyrics that go with it and try to hear the words from the lyrics in what you are listening to. That's good practice. All right. All right. So if the class was not the best space for you, like you're feeling overwhelmed, I want to hear from you. All the people who are feeling overwhelmed. That's who I want to hear from. Okay. So let's look at the links, right? For what you will need before I see you again, right? So the tomorrow's class is the advanced class. It is at 9 a.m. You are invited to attend. I mean, if it's not a particular hardship, I encourage you to attend if you're serious about Spanish, right? This is one more time, I'm putting it in the chat, but remember, Sir has shared it on the channel. And if for some reason you're not seeing the channel or you're still not seeing it, you can message me and I'll throw you a little bit of shade and then I'll send a link to you. No, I'm kidding. I'll just send you a link, right? If for some reason you're not on the channel. Right. This is our link to our recording page. Yes. So we'll post the recording. He's very excited these days, so he might post it later today. And then next to it, we have about 4 different links in the homework section, right? Let me see if I could open it in a different page and then you'll see it clearly. Because I clicked on it earlier, everything is gray. So it's hard to spot, right? No, too late. All right. So the first link says is for my notes. And that takes you to where I was putting all the screenshots. So that's over here. So if you were taking notes, but I moved too fast, or you were not taking notes because you mistakenly think that's how you learn, and now you've had a change of heart and you're ready to take notes, come over here. And you'll see all the notes you were expected to write down during class, right? Mine is spread out over many slides because my space is small and my handwriting is terrible. Yours will be much neater. It's probably 2 pages, right? In total. Once you're done, you understand what you have to do, you know where to get the homework, go ahead. You're free to leave, right? This is for people who still feel a little unclear on that. Okay, so that's the first link. The second link is to the class PowerPoint, this one, which may not be super useful because we took notes. But if you want it, here it is, right? If you want to look ahead at what we're doing, if you like this potato and you want to see his face some more, right? He's right there. Then the other links on the site are to the vocabulary that will accompany Sarah and a star. So there's the list of words that go with Sarah, and that is over here, right? And the list of words that go with his star, and that is over here, right? Now note that the homework is assigned for weeks 1 and 2. So I'm not saying to you, write out all the vocab and learn it in 1 week. I'm probably going to go and change this to weeks 1 to 4, right? I'm saying do it piece by piece and learn a little bit every week. Okay? All right. Right. So if you didn't get a chance to copy something, you could go back to the PowerPoint and get it there, right? All right. I think I've addressed the majority of questions. If you still have a pending question, you could remain and ask it. But other than that, I will see you all next week, right? Thank you for a very engaging class. All right, guys, if you're still on, I'm going to close the meeting in a few minutes. If there's something specific you need, please message and say, right? That wasn't addressed yet, message and say, please. Otherwise, I'll see you all next week or some of you tomorrow. Andrew, there's no homework to upload for this or for any other of my classes. Okay, Amani, since you are the only person requesting it and nobody is sending anything else, yes. This one, you're taking a screenshot, right? Sorry, just a second. I think I'm blocking your view here. All right, guys. Okay, go ahead and close the meeting. All right, take care, everybody.